The pain of paying is the psychological discomfort you feel when money leaves your hands. When you pay with cash, you feel it. You watch the bill leave your fingers. You count the change. Something in your brain registers loss, and that loss slows you down. It makes you pause. It makes you reconsider. Credit cards were designed to kill that feeling entirely. Think about the last time you paid for something with cash versus a card. Cash felt real. The card felt like nothing. Just a quick tap, a beep, and it's done. No counting. No watching money disappear. Just a frictionless moment that barely registers. That's not an accident. Researchers have studied this for decades. People consistently spend more when they pay with cards versus cash, not because they have more money, because the brain processes card payments differently. The pain signal is delayed, weakened, almost invisible. You think you're just paying conveniently. What's actually happening is that your brain's natural spending brake has been quietly disabled. At first, it feels harmless. You're just avoiding the hassle of carrying cash. Then you stop thinking about individual purchases at all. You stop feeling the weight of small decisions. You stop asking yourself whether this is worth it. And that threshold, that small moment of hesitation, was the only thing standing between you and overspending. They didn't take your money. They took the feeling of spending it. And that's where everything else begins. Rewards are when your credit card turns every purchase into a point toward a prize, and your brain forgets it was ever about money. Think about how it feels when you earn points on a big purchase. There's a small rush, a feeling of winning, like the spending wasn't really spending, it was progress. You didn't lose money, you gained something. Points, miles, cashback, a step closer to a free flight, a hotel room, a gift card. That feeling is the entire strategy. The brain doesn't naturally distinguish between winning points in a video game and earning reward miles on a credit card. Both trigger the same dopamine response. Both feel like progress. Both feel like reward. And once your brain starts experiencing spending as a reward system, it stops questioning the spending itself. This is behavioral engineering at its most elegant. Here's what actually happens. You're at checkout and you see two options: pay cash or use the card that earns miles. Paying cash feels like missing out. Paying with the card feels like winning. So you choose the card every time. And the more you use the card, the more you earn, and the more the game pulls you forward. Little by little, you stop thinking about cost and start thinking about points. You shift from asking, can I afford this, to how many miles will this give me? And the companies know this behavior intimately. They designed the reward tiers, the multipliers, the progress bars, the threshold bonuses, all of it crafted to keep you chasing. Because a customer who is chasing rewards is a customer who is always spending. You think you're playing the system is playing you. The sign-up bonus trap is when a credit card company bribes you into spending a specific amount of money in order to earn a reward that feels too good to leave on the table. And it works almost every single time. Here's how it usually looks. You get approved for a new card. The welcome offer says, spend $2,000 in the first 3 months and earn 50,000 bonus points, worth $500 in travel, maybe more if you optimize it. That sounds incredible. That sounds like free money. So you sign up. And now there's a clock. 90 days, $2,000. And whether you consciously track it or not, a part of your brain is always calculating where you are, how far to the threshold, how much time is left. That pressure subtly changes your spending behavior in ways you don't even notice. Suddenly, a purchase you might have hesitated on becomes easy. You need to hit the spend anyway. You upgrade something you would have bought cheap. You pull forward an expense you were going to make later. You convince yourself you were going to spend that money regardless. But were you? The trap worked because the bonus is real. The points are real. The reward will actually arrive. So it never feels like manipulation. It feels like smart financial strategy. You're getting something for spending you were already going to do. But the category of spending you were already going to do quietly expands to justify the number they gave you. And once the bonus lands, the card stays in your wallet. The habit remains. The cycle continues. Now, at your normal elevated spending rate that got locked in during those first 90 days, you didn't earn a bonus. You paid for one. The minimum payment illusion is when a small number at the bottom of your statement makes a mountain of debt feel manageable. $25, $35, $42. That's all they ask for. That's the minimum. And every month, that number is so reasonable, so affordable, that it's easy to pay it and move forward without ever confronting what's actually sitting above it. The balance, the real number. Here's what actually happens when you carry a balance and pay only the minimum. The interest compounds silently in the background. Every single month, the card company is charging you 18, 20, 24, sometimes 30% annually on whatever you owe. And when you pay the minimum, you're barely touching that interest. You're certainly not touching the principal. A $2,000 balance on a typical credit card, paying minimums only, can take over a decade to pay off. And by the time it's gone, you may have paid back nearly double what you originally spent. But the statement doesn't show you that. It shows you the minimum, a small, manageable, completely misleading number. You think you're staying current, you're staying trapped. And the design is intentional. The minimum payment exists not to help you escape escape debt. It exists to keep you in it as long as possible, because a customer who carries a balance is a customer who pays interest, and interest is where the real money is made. Your reward points, your travel miles, your cashback, all of that is generously funded by the people who carry balances and pay minimums month after month after month. You're not managing your debt, you're renting it. The earn while spending illusion is when the framing of gaining something makes you forget you're losing something bigger. This is the mindset that sounds like financial intelligence, but operates like a blind spot. It goes like this. You spend $100 on something you didn't really need, but you earned 3% cashback, $3. So psychologically, the purchase is partially justified by the return. You didn't just spend, you earned. You used your spending to generate income. That's smart, right? No, here's what actually happened. You spent $100 you weren't planning to spend to earn 3. The math is not in your favor, but the framing flipped the psychology completely. Spending became earning, outflow became inflow, loss became gain. This mental reframe is extraordinarily powerful because it attaches a positive identity to spending. You become the type of person who earns on every purchase, smart with money, optimizing your returns. And once that identity locks in, spending more actually feels responsible because more spending means more earning. Meanwhile, the only way to earn more is to spend more. The only way to maximize returns is to keep the cycle moving, and the system profits from every single transaction. Whether you earn 1% or 5%, the companies offering these rewards pay for them gladly because the behavioral shift in how you think about spending is worth far more than the cashback they're giving you. You think you're getting ahead. You're just moving faster on the same treadmill. Saved cards are when the elimination of every small obstacle between you and a purchase quietly removes every opportunity you had to change your mind. Think about how online shopping worked before saved cards. You wanted to buy something, you had to go find your wallet, pull out the card, type the 16-digit number, the expiry, the security code, your billing address. That process took maybe 90 seconds. But in those 90 seconds, something important could happen. You might reconsider. You might ask yourself if you actually need this. You might close the tab and come back tomorrow, and by tomorrow, the impulse is gone. That moment of friction was protecting you. Now your card is saved everywhere. One click, one tap, one confirmation. The purchase is done before a second thought even forms. Amazon, Apple, Google, Uber, every subscription platform, every app, they all urgently prompt you to save your card for convenience. Convenient for whom, exactly? The research on this is uncomfortable. Reducing friction dramatically increases purchase frequency and average order value. Not because people suddenly have more money or more needs, because the pause that created natural spending resistance has been engineered away. Your impulse and your purchase now exist in the same heartbeat, and every platform knows this. The one-click checkout wasn't designed to save you time. It was designed to save the sale from your own second thought. The moment of hesitation they removed was the only moment you were actually in control. Premium cards are when a financial product stops being a payment tool and becomes a statement about who you are, and the card company profits from your need to feel that way. You know the ones: the metal card with the satisfying weight, the black card, the signature card, the one with the airport lounge access, and the concierge service, and the name that carries a certain meaning when you slide it across the table. At first, the math seems to work. The annual fee is high, sometimes $500, sometimes $1,000, but the perks add up. Travel credits, lounge access, hotel status, priority boarding. If you use everything, you come out ahead. But here's the thing: most people don't fully use everything, and the companies know exactly what the redemption rates are. They price the cards knowing that a significant portion of cardholders will pay the fee, feel elevated, and leave value on the table, because the card isn't really selling you perk, it's selling you an identity. The weight of that card in your wallet does something to you psychologically. It signals status to others, and more importantly, it signals status to yourself. It changes how you feel in stores, how you feel at restaurants, how you feel in airport lounges surrounded by other people who have the card. And once you've accepted that identity, once you've built it into how you see yourself, the card creates its own spending pressure. You start gravitating toward experiences that match the card, restaurants that deserve a metal card, trips that justify the lounge access, purchases that feel proportional to someone who carries that card. The annual fee becomes invisible because the identity feels priceless. You're not paying for perks, you're paying for a version of yourself you've been convinced you need to maintain. Trigger FOMO. Limited time offers are when artificial urgency is injected into your decision-making process to make you act before you think. You've seen it everywhere. The offer expires tonight. Double points this weekend only. Bonus cashback for the next 48 hours. Apply now before this promotion ends. These messages are carefully engineered to do one specific thing: override your rational mind with fear. The fear of missing out is one of the most powerful behavioral levers in existence, and credit card companies, retailers, and financial platforms use it with surgical precision because they know that a consumer making a calm, rational decision is harder to sell to than a consumer who feels like a window is closing. Here's what actually happens in your brain when you see a countdown timer or a limited offer banner. Your cognitive focus narrows. The question stops being, "Do I need this?" and starts being, "Can I afford to miss this?" The evaluation shifts from value to loss avoidance, and loss avoidance is a faster, more emotional, more irrational process than value assessment. This is why the offer always expires soon, not because there's actually a limited supply or a genuine deadline, but because urgency collapses the deliberation window. Little by little, if you respond to enough of these prompts, you train yourself to associate speed with intelligence. You start feeling like the quick decision is the smart one. The person who hesitates is the person who loses. But the only thing you're consistently losing when you slow down and think is the sale. And that loss belongs to them, not you. Every countdown timer you've ever seen was a machine designed to borrow time from your future self and hand it to a company's quarterly earnings. You didn't seize an opportunity. You were rushed through a decision.